Alright guys, so today I'm at David Lloyd Leisure Centre in Norwich. A lot of people ask me about what my gym training is, or do I do strength and conditioning, and I do it. I've been doing it since 2019 when I met Endurance Movement, which are based out in Perth, Australia, and they gave me a plan. And then since then I've been speaking to Kate and Nick, and we've been re-evaluating what strength and conditioning I should do. And today I'm going to show you what my latest strength and conditioning routine is, which I've had from them. I've been doing it now for about 6 months, and I think I've had some really good gains. Like initially Kate said to me, what sports do you want to work on? Swim, biking and running. And I said probably the bike and run area is where I want to focus on with the strength and conditioning part of it. So she's given me a plan, and I really think it made a massive difference. And part of the reason why I think I was able to run so well in Wales was because of the exercise that she's given me, which are really good for stability. A lot of the stuff's focused on like single leg movements and balance, and then putting power out and doing big weights, so you get used to like the balance and increasing strength at the same time, which I think's made a big difference. So come with me, and I'll show you through what I've been doing.
I'm Kate from Endurance Movement in Western Australia, and I've been working with Joe for the last few years on his strength and conditioning. This year we've been focusing on some particular exercises in the lead up to Sub 7, Wales, Kona and Arizona. I'm going to take you through them.
Alright, so the warm-up set to start off with is I'll do single leg kind of like squats on this, or you know, where you go down on one leg and then I move the other leg out to the side. You'll see it in a sec. This one, you keep your arms straight and you kind of shrug, and it uses the smaller supporting muscles in your shoulder, which is really important for swimming. And then the third exercise in the warm-up set is a side plank, and I'll do that 3 times through, and then I'll go on to the squats and the triple extensions.
The first exercise that I've prescribed for Joe is an overhead barbell shrug. I don't think he particularly likes me for this one, but when we were talking about his goals, he did mention earlier on in the year that he wanted to improve his swimming. This one's a great exercise for not only upper body strength, but also upper body mobility. It does open up the shoulders, which is a nice contrast to the position of always being in TT position for those prolonged rides. So it's great for mobility and strength of the upper body.
Hadn't done that one for a while, and can feel I've definitely got weaker at it, like because of the racing that I've had, Kona and then recovering from that, and then now Arizona. Like the gym's been taking a bit of a back seat, and that's one thing I would say with it. Once you stop, you do definitely detrain quick, and I'm 10 kilos down on that. It looks a lot easier than what it is. It was just like 8 reps, you know, like shrugging. Really actually harder than what it looks, definitely. Now this one's a test of the balance, and I can tell it's going to be pretty shameful compared to what it was.
This next one, Joe also probably doesn't like me very much for this one either, but it's a great exercise for hip stability, particularly when it comes to running. So this is your step up with hip abduction up and down off the box. This one is great because it's a single leg exercise. Any single leg exercise really helps recruit the muscles that are important for stabilizing through the hip. This translates over to the single leg phase of running. So when Joe's in that single leg position, it helps his hip stay nice and stable so he can transfer power down to the ground, the push off, and it helps his hip stop dropping. This not only can help prevent injuries, particularly through the hip and the knee, but it also helps create that stability to make Joe's run more economical. So it's a fantastic exercise for improving running performance, particularly in the back end of an Ironman, when as endurance athletes we're obviously all really fatigued.
The key to this one is to try and keep your knee stable and not collapsing on it. So you can see I'm struggling a bit to do it, but that is part of the challenge, is keeping the good technique. And when I first started, I could only do 4, and I was having to hold on to something. The gains do come pretty quick, and even though I've been doing it for a while, you can see that I'm far from perfect, but it's a very good one for running, because obviously in running you're always on one foot, you know, when you're taking off and putting the power down.
So another activation exercise that I've prescribed Joe is a side plank. So research shows that a side plank is a really great option for activating through the glute med and the glute min, and these are really important in hip stabilization, which again is really, really important in the single leg phase of any movement, including running and cycling. Also, this is a great exercise for activating those muscles through the core and through the back as well, and you do get a little bit of shoulder loading in that side plank position. So overall, it's a great exercise. So for Joe's main set, I prescribed him heavy strength training. So these are anywhere between 3 to 5 sets of 4 to 6 repetitions, all at loads greater than 85% of his 1RM. So Joe's working pretty hard when he's doing these. To translate that to those who might not know percentages of 1RM, he should only be feeling like he's got between 1 or maybe even 0 reps in reserve when he's doing these exercises. These have a different purpose to the activation ones. These are for producing pure maximal strength, generating power, and working on all important things which are going to translate over to improve performance in his races.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a real treat today. I've got guest appearance from the 1972 Mr. Olympia champion.
56.
You were what inspired Arnold Schwarzenegger, weren't you? Like, what was it like competing against him in the early days?
No, he's just a boy, yeah.
But you loved weightlifting though, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For about 2 weeks.
So the trick is to go down and the count of 3 and then up pretty quick, but this is just getting the muscles warmed up. So 1, 2, 3, and then faster up.
The first of the main set exercises I've chosen for Joe is a back squat. A back squat has been used a lot in the literature examining endurance and strength training and been shown to have really good effects on both cycling and running economy. It's a compound movement, meaning that it uses multiple muscles and joints, so it makes it really time effective, especially for endurance athletes. In Joe's particular case, I've kept these to a parallel depth. Even at times when Joe's fatigued, we can make it 90 degrees, so make it a little bit less deep. This is because we don't want to flare up any of Joe's hip joints, especially when he spends a lot of time on the bike in a closed hip position, so it keeps him injury free whilst being able to do nice heavy loads as well.
Alright, so this one's my favourite exercise of the 2 main ones that I do at the moment. Like, I do one called triple extensions, which you get the bar, you kind of go down into like this position, jump, holding the weight. I'm starting off with 40 kilos, which is less than what I was doing at my best. I was doing 60 kilos, but I've got Arizona in 8 days' time. I don't want to risk injury, and also I haven't been doing a massive amount of weight training since Kona, so I don't want to overdo it. But in the lead up to Kona, in Wales, I was doing 60 kilos, 4 sets of 6. I'll start off with 40, I'll see how it goes. Maybe do 50 kilos as the best, but yeah, with this exercise, if you're going to do it, make sure you've got someone looking at your technique when you start, because you don't want to risk an injury. But I do think that this is a great exercise for running. It's quite similar to some of the stuff you might do in plyometrics.
The second exercise of Joe's main set is a triple extension. We talked a lot about Joe's goals and targets and what we really wanted to work on, and one of them was running, particularly in the back end of his marathon. With a triple extension, we create extension through the hip, knee and the ankle, and that replicates the movements of running. So with this, we get to double up and improve maximal strength and power in one movement. Again, it's about being time efficient in the gym and making sure that we're not making Joe too tired from his strength training for his endurance training. This one is a really, really good running specific exercise. In the back end of this year, we've kept Joe's strength training pretty simple. Joe's a really, really good example of just being able to stick to a few basic exercises, and the way that we progress these is simply with the load. The exercises were working really, really well for him, so we didn't want to overcomplicate things, especially with his busy racing schedule.
Alright guys, so that was gym session. 2 big heavy exercises in there is like the main set, which doesn't seem like much, but you're doing 4 sets of each, and they are pretty much, so you've got only 1, maybe 2 reps max left in reserve, so pretty intense. So you can't do too much because you need to have the recovery between it as well. That's the one thing I would say if you're from an endurance background. Don't hurry the recovery, because a lot of us like to cut the recovery short and have 30 seconds a minute, but if you do that, it probably won't be in the ranges of proper strength training. So make sure you take a good 2 to 3 minutes recovery between each rep, so you're fresh and ready to go. And in the warm-up set, it's more about engaging some of the stabilising muscles, and just basically like you would for before a run session. You do a bit of a warm-up to get yourself ready. that's the aim of that, and it's to engage your core, get your smaller muscles ready for it. So yeah, that's the session. It's not massive, it's not any rocket science behind it, but if you'd like to find out more, or you'd be interested in a strength and conditioning plan, whether that be for getting back from injury from running, improving your cycling, swimming, a mobility one, contact endurance movement, we'll put the details in the description below. I've been working with them now for 3 years, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. They're the best strength and conditioning people that I've ever come across, and I'm sure Kate and Nick would be delighted to help you. So reach out to them. Kate's been in this video. She's the one who's been talking you through the exercises, why I do them, and the whole reasoning behind why we do these exercises. So she definitely knows her stuff. She's got a PhD in strength training for triathletes, where she looked at the oxygen uptake at different speeds and intensities on the bike and running before and after a 6-week training plan, strength and conditioning training plan, and the gains after doing strength and conditioning were pretty big. I think 5-6% improvement in how much oxygen you needed to run or cycle at a given pace. So she definitely knows her stuff, and she's got the research to back her. So yeah, just reach out to them, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help you, and it would be great to know how you get on if you do end up contacting them and following a plan. So thanks everyone, and hope you enjoyed the video.